Hi everyone, Raani here. You're listening to Clean With Me, the podcast where I talk you through cleaning your house. Thanks for joining me. In today's episode, I'm going to talk you through washing your dishes, but more importantly, I'm going to talk about how to keep up on the dishes, and it might be easier than you think. Some of these solutions may sound obvious, but I think we all need these constant reminders that if what we're doing is not working, we need to try something else. I'm definitely big on rethinking things. In a recent episode, I talked about contemplating on your household routine and things like that. And I've definitely been contemplating on the situation with dishes at our house. Now, what I want you to do is gather up any dirty dishes from around the house. Sounds bad, but you may have a mug on the nightstand. You may even have a plate from last night's dinner. No judgment here. But if you have dishes around the house, gather those up and start taking dishes to the sink area, whether they're, on the table, on the island. Definitely at my house, people are supposed to take their dish to the sink and at least rinse it. That's under the old system. The new system starts today. I'll talk about that in a minute. But it's not what you think either. You probably think we're going to start putting things directly into the dishwasher. But gather everything up and start your pre-rinse. Maybe you need to first put away some clean dishes. Maybe you need to empty a drying rack or empty your dishwasher. But if not, go ahead and start your pre-rinse. And then, you'll be ready to do a sink load or load the dishwasher. Just get started on your dishes wherever you are, whether you need to gather things up or put away clean dishes, wherever you are in the process. No judgment here if you're facing a major disaster. We're going to talk about avoiding this situation in the future. Now, I know that a lot of people say to load your dishwasher throughout the day and then run it at the end of the day. And I've wanted so badly to be one of those people, but it's just never worked for me. One of the reasons is when I still had toddlers at home. I mean, toddlers might be an exaggeration. Preschoolers, just small children. They would open the dishwasher to get a clean cup that they could reach. So I wanted any dishes in the dishwasher to be clean. That's when I kind of got into this habit of basically putting dishes in the sink, and then when I would have to unload the clean dishes to load the dishwasher, so that basically at any given moment my dishes in the dishwasher were either clean or the dishwasher was running. And I know there are solutions for letting people know whether dishes are clean or dirty, like a magnet or a post-it note on the dishwasher. I've done that before. But with little kids who are somehow in the habit of pulling a cup out of the dishwasher and you just can't stop them, you don't want them to grab something dirty. It may have been an irrational fear, but it was something that I used to worry about. So that's part of what got me into this pattern of not having dishes going directly into the dishwasher. Also, whenever you're a little behind on dishes, there are always enough to load the entire dishwasher, so then you just naturally run it immediately. And if you have kids at home or you're home during the day and you tend to do a lot of cooking, baking, it seems like there are times when not everything fits into the dishwasher, but part of that is being in a cycle of being a little bit behind. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. But what I've decided to do, and be working on your dishes while I talk, what I have decided to do this summer is create a system where we do the dishes, we run the dishwasher after dinner. I'm talking everything, pots, pans, and dishes, because let's face it, anything we generate at dinner time, that can all fit into the dishwasher, assuming we're not behind on dishes, which we are not. So we do all the dishes in the evening, and this plan like literally starts today, so I'm going to have to update you on this. And then throughout the day, okay, so this starts with me. If someone uses a bowl, a spoon, a plate, a fork, they hand wash that item. Forget the dishwasher even exists, and I'll explain a little bit why in a minute, but forget the dishwasher even exists. Hand wash whatever you used for breakfast, lunch, or a snack, and put it, hand wash it and put it in the drying rack. Don't worry about the status of what's in the dishwasher. Are they clean or dirty in the dishwasher? Don't worry about it. And I think everyone would agree that it's not that hard to wash one dish or one plate. So that's going to be our system over summer vacation for the kids too. Because what happens when I'm working and kids are at home, they're dirtying things throughout the day. And then when I go into the kitchen to make dinner, I have to do all these dishes first, and it's just a really irritating thing to face after working all day. But even if you're a stay-at-home mom, I mean, it's still going to be more overwhelming to face a bunch of dishes at once than to do dishes as we go. And I think we sometimes get into the mindset when we know these people, these family members, these friends who never have a dirty dish in the sink and always clean as they go. We kind of think, well, they like cleaning, or they're different than me, or something like that. But that does not necessarily, keeping up on your dishes and cleaning as you go does not necessarily mean that you like doing dishes. It could mean that you don't like it, so you don't want to let it build up. That's definitely my motivation. And obviously, I've talked often about the show about washing dishes while you cook. Maybe transferring something into a serving dish that's also going to store your leftovers so that you can wash the pan while it's still hot. All that is helpful, but what I'm focusing on in this episode are the actual dishes, not the pots and pans that you're generating at dinner time, but the actual dishes. And also, this rule is going to extend to a pot or pan. For example, it's summer vacation and my daughter scrambles some eggs. She likes to make a little scrambled egg sandwich and put it on an English muffin, and she'll bring me some. It's great. But that generates a little pan. That's going to be one of the things that she's supposed to hand wash. And it will be easier to wash if done immediately after cooking. Don't let it sit. When you let things sit, it takes longer. So that's another reason to wash a dish or plate immediately. Because the problem with telling someone, rinse your plate or bowl and put it in the sink, which has always been our rule, the problem with that is they might set it in the sink and just go, shh, turn on the water for a second, turn it off. It's not a true pre-rinse, okay? And when I was talking about this, let me explain kind of the situation with our family in case you're new to the show. But my 3 youngest kids are still living at home. They are definitely old enough to wash dishes, all the things. I have a 16-year-old, a 13-year-old, and an 11-year-old, okay? But they go to a hybrid school where they have days that they are at home, kind of like homeschooling, but it's basically homework from their school that's going to be due the next day. So they have home days and then they have school days, okay? So, but for a lot of you, if you have kids in school, they go 5 days a week, and then during the summer, they're going to be at home. So I'm thinking you could implement this system over the summer, but it can really start now, and it can start with you on days that you're home, or maybe you're a stay-at-home mom or work-at-home mom. All moms are work-at-home moms, but you know what I mean. I'm working a full-time job right now. Hopefully by now you've gathered up your dishes, put away any clean dishes from the drying rack or dishwasher, maybe even pre-rinsed and started on your first sink load, or maybe even loaded the dishwasher. But just be working on dishes, whatever that means for you right now. The job looks different at different times, but in this episode, I'm trying to make it easier on you. And I feel like I'm almost embarrassed that I've just now come up with this idea. I mean, I'm sure I've had this idea before and just not followed through with it. But I feel like I'm going to be very, very strict with it. And when I was talking about it, today is one of those home days where the kids are going to be doing schoolwork at home. They're not out of school for the summer yet. But when I had what I call a family meeting and got the 3 kids together and talked about this, and I'd already explained it to my husband too, which he's not home during the day, but I wanted him to kind of know what the kids are supposed to do so that he'll walk in and say something if they're not doing it. But when I had this little meeting with the kids, my daughter was like, Mom, can we just put them in the dishwasher? And I was like, no, but if you guys do well with this, we might reward you by letting you put them into the dishwasher. So there are a couple of reasons why I don't want them. Obviously, they're old enough now to not just pull something dirty out of the dishwasher and just, that system that I've had for years because I was worried about small kids pulling out something dirty is an outdated system in our family. However, I didn't want to go directly to the dishwasher thing because we've tried to do that several times and nobody does it and it just hasn't worked. That's one reason. Another reason is that I'm not sure that they would do a proper pre-rinse. So I feel like if something's going to sit in the dishwasher all day and it wasn't properly pre-rinsed, is it really going to get clean in the cycle? Because I feel like the pre-rinse, the quality of the pre-rinse is not as important when you're hitting start as soon as those dishes go into the dishwasher. Okay, so that's kind of my thought on that is, well, would they rinse it properly before putting it in and then it's going to, and it's going to sit all day? That was one concern that I had. The other thought that I had was if they are washing by hand, because they are used to using the dishwasher for most of the dishwashing that they do when I tell them to do the dishes, or it's on their chore list for that day, because we've been treating dishes as like a big project that one person goes in and does a bunch of dishes. The problem or the benefit of having them wash each dish by hand is that it will help them to appreciate the dishwasher and get them used to scrubbing dishes because they're actually going to pre-rinse, scrub, wash it with soap, rinse it, the whole process of washing their dish thoroughly from start to finish, putting it in the drying rack. They're going to do all that, and it's going to get them used to actually washing dishes. The other reason I didn't want to go straight to the dishwasher method is because this is a new habit, so there's a chance that I might not remember to empty the dishwasher first thing in the morning. See, that's going to be part of my system, but obviously I have to make sure that I'm being consistent. So the beauty of this method or experiment that we're doing where they just wash each dish throughout the day is that it doesn't matter what the status is of the dishwasher at any given moment. So I said, don't worry about whether they're cleaning the dishwasher. Doesn't matter. You're just going to wash whatever you used. And obviously the way I'm going to enforce this is, when I'm on my 15-minute break or whatever, I walk out. Whose bowl is this? Someone's abandoned a bowl and a spoon, whether it was cereal or some soup or whatever. And yeah, they're going to be told to not only wash it, but complete a penalty chore, which the penalty chore thing is nothing new at my house. When I ask kids to, do something and they don't do it, that means they're going to have to do something extra. because it always pays to do things right away and on time. Otherwise, it generates more work. That's a natural consequence. Like when you let your dishes pile up, that's going to generate more scrubbing later on. And by the way, if you don't have kids, this episode is still for you, because washing dishes as you go could just revolutionize your housekeeping. Okay. Even if it's just two of you living in the house, or your kids are too young to do dishes. Obviously, I'm talking about kids doing dishes, but I'm talking about older kids. I think that, washing dishes, like washing your own dish start to finish, I'll just throw this out there. I mean, a 9-year-old could probably be taught to do this. And obviously, kids mature at different rates, but I'm implementing this plan for an 11-year-old, 13-year-old, and a 16-year-old who have already been taught how to wash dishes by hand years ago. They know how to do it. So I'm probably going to update you on the system around the end of May, because once they're out of school, that's going to be the real test. But I guess what I was explaining to my daughter was that, once they do this correctly for a week, they're going to be able to maybe start putting them into the dishwasher. Okay. But maybe I would have this certain disclaimer that if the dishwasher is running or it's full of clean dishes, you're going to have a choice. Empty it, or not if it's running, but if it's full of clean dishes, you're going to have a choice. Empty it so that you can put something in, or just hand wash that one item. If you're too lazy to empty the dishwasher right at this moment, hand wash your one item. Okay. But also, I feel like having them do this for a week or so will get them not only used to just thorough washing, but it will maybe cause them to appreciate the dishwasher. Like, man, I wish we could just pre-rinse this and put it in the dishwasher. And then when I offer them the opportunity of putting it directly into the dishwasher, then I'm going to say, okay, you're going to run hot water over this dish, scrub it with the dishwashing brush that we use when we hand wash dishes, or if it's a cup or a glass, clean it with the bottle brush. That tool that I call it a bottle brush because I think I got it in the baby section, but that tool that you stick in the glass, to get that, chocolate milk residue or whatever out of the bottom of it. Although if you just use the glass, there's nothing going to be dried on and you can just rinse it. But I think there's probably a tendency to leave a glass sitting, because I'm not as strict about a cup or a glass. But what is super irritating is if I find a bowl and there's cereal or something dried on. Okay, we're several minutes into the episode, so hopefully you've gathered your dishes, you've put away clean dishes, you've pre-rinsed, and you're just well into the process of washing your dishes. Maybe you need to empty, reload, and run your dishwasher, and then wash the rest of the dishes by hand. Sometimes when there are a lot of dishes, I do this thing where I will get, and I haven't had to do this in a while, but this is what I did when my dishwasher wasn't working. And it's also what I did one time when I helped my daughter when she had morning sickness, and she had some dishes that had piled up because she was just vomiting, and I came to her house and got her caught up on dishes. She was at a college class. I was babysitting, and I just washed all of her dishes, and she didn't have a dishwasher at the time. I think she still doesn't, but I'm not sure. But she's at a different apartment. But at her house, she didn't have a dishwasher, and so there really wasn't anywhere. There was just one small drying rack, and there wasn't a lot of counter space, but there was a table in the kitchen. I just laid out a couple bath towels so that I could put the dishes there. And you might be thinking, well, dry them and put them away, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but sometimes that can slow you down. If you have a lot of dishes to wash by hand, having a place to just set them will allow you to go faster, and you can worry about putting them away after the fact, and you can skip that step of drying them because you can let them air dry. So When I'm hand washing a lot of dishes, which I haven't had to do in a while, I put out these towels. Now, I do buy those dish drying pads or draining pads, whatever they're called. So I have a dish drying rack, but sometimes I'll put also a pad next to it and then, put some things on that pad. So the pad is an alternative to the rack or something you can use in conjunction with the rack. It's kind of like the old method of putting a towel down, but it's a lot more absorbent. Many of you probably already know this, but I'm just trying to talk about dish related stuff while you are getting caught up on your dishes. But to turn over a new leaf, so to speak, with dishes, you do have to get caught up on that backlog. I think sometimes if you cook a lot, there could be a tendency to always have something soaking, or, you go into the kitchen to make dinner, you empty, reload, and run your dishwasher, and then you pre-rinse some stuff and get it soaking, and then you have some dishes in the sink soaking when you start dinner because it's getting late and you've got to start dinner, and you want to follow that rule of doing the dishes before you start dinner, but somehow you cheat to get dinner started. I mean, we've all been there, right? You want to break the cycle. So this episode is designed to give you some time to work on your dishes, get caught up on your dishes, and then, while you're doing that, be thinking about your new plan. So you might decide to do the dishwasher thing, but there could be a morning where you didn't run your dishwasher the night before, or you don't have time to empty it. Don't fall off the wagon completely if your new system was to put things directly into the dishwasher. Don't fall off the wagon because of one dish, because I feel like just dishes begat more dishes. If there's a dish in the sink, people are less likely to maintain things. The way I explained it to one of my kids was, what if you were renting a room from somebody and they said, we have a rule here, we don't allow dirty dishes in the sink, so you're welcome to use anything in the kitchen. This is just this scenario I came up with in my mind that seemed quite realistic. You're allowed to use everything we have here in our kitchen. However, when you cook or eat, you have to wash your dishes and put them away so that the kitchen stays looking the way it looks right now. And I told my kid, you would follow that rule. If you weren't at my house and someone told you that, you would gladly follow that rule. So I'm telling you, that's going to be the rule here. I'm ready to just take things to the next level. I mean, I've gotten better at housekeeping over the years, but I want to be that person where Raani never has a dish in the sink. I mean, I feel like that would be just the ultimate, okay? And another reason why I wanted to try this hand washing thing for, single dishes. And I realize the dishwasher uses a little bit less water. In a perfect world, you're going to start your day by emptying the dishwasher that ran, the night before, and then just load it throughout the day. And I'm not saying not to do that. That might be real doable for you. But one of the reasons that I think the hand washing might work better for me is because it's worked well for me in the past. I used to live in a house that didn't have a dishwasher. There wasn't even a place for one. My kids were real little, so there was nothing, I realized not all of you have kids washing dishes. My kids were real little at the time. I had 2 very small children. And I was pretty much the only one doing dishes. I mean, maybe on a Saturday, my husband would do dishes in those days. He does more now because I'm working full time. But at the time I was a stay-at-home mom and I was the one doing the dishes. Like I said, he probably did it like on a Saturday or something. But I didn't want the dishes to pile up because I thought, washing dishes by hand seemed really daunting to me because of the fact that I had grown up with a dishwasher and then lived in apartments with dishwashers, and I just wasn't used to not having a dishwasher. So it kind of scared me, like, to let the dishes pile up. Also, there weren't as many dishes, so there was really no need to procrastinate. And just during that era, I was really good about keeping up on dishes. I'm not going to say that I washed them after every meal, but I definitely, washed them after 2 meals or something. I was just really good about keeping up. Again, it wasn't as many dishes with this family of 4 where 2 of them are real small and they're not in there like cooking their own concoctions. So, is that the right word? Maybe not. But yeah, I feel like there's different struggles at different stages of parenting for sure. I mean, there's the struggle when you're doing everything and your kids aren't going to do dishes, okay, and they're trashing another room while you do dishes, okay, when they're little. But then there's a new struggle that happens. You think it's going to be so easy when they get older, but the new struggle is when they're cooking and making messes of their own. And it's good that they're independent and they know how to cook and all that, but yeah, we've got to teach them to clean as they go. And it's not like I've never told them to clean as they go or to put, we've tried different things, but I don't think we've consistently enforced a rule where they wash an item from start to finish as soon as they use it. And this system is not going to, it's not going to apply at dinner time. At dinner time, they do get to relax. They're going to revert back to the old way where they are supposed to just clear their plate, rinse it, put it in the sink. Because when my husband or I make dinner, we're going to generate pots and pans that need to be washed, spatulas, knives, all the things. We're going to be doing a dishwasher load in the evening. So there's no need for them to wash their dishes by hand at that point. This rule is for during the day because I want my husband to walk in after work and come home to a clean kitchen and just start cooking. That's definitely the ideal. He's going to be more likely to start cooking if he doesn't have to do the dishes first. And then if he doesn't walk in and start cooking, I'm going to start cooking as soon as I get off work, and I want to, quote unquote, come home to a clean kitchen. By come home, I mean walk into the kitchen because I work from home. Hopefully you've gotten a lot done in this episode, whether it was a couple of sink loads or, some things went in the dishwasher and you hand washed others, or maybe you didn't even have that many dishes and you were able to get your countertops wiped down and such. I have other kitchen episodes, so I realize that sometimes 30 minutes isn't enough to get the dishes done if you're way behind. It usually is. I think sometimes we exaggerate in our mind how long dishes are going to take and then they don't take as long, but a lot of times 30 minutes is not enough. And I know this because even though I usually take about 25 minutes to do dishes, so to speak, after, a full day of dirtying the kitchen, I know that sometimes it's not enough because there have been times that I've tried to kind of tackle a disaster on my 30-minute lunch break, and it just wasn't enough time. Of course, I had got my dishwasher running and, got the kitchen in better condition than when I started, but it wasn't enough time. So no judgment here. If you still have dishes to do, check out one of my other kitchen episodes or a topical episode. If you're trying to find specific episodes, visit cleanwithmepodcast.com. It's not like I'm going to post every episode there, but I'm posting certain episodes there so that if you want to listen to something about a certain topic, you can easily find the episode you need. You can click on it right there, or you can look it up on your favorite podcast app. But it kind of helps to know the title of it for finding the episodes. We have an extensive library of episodes since this show has been around since 2018. Season 1 was just me, a monologue like what I'm doing today. Season 2 was my daughter Jessica. And then in season 3, we kind of take turns recording. I'm tossing around the idea of a conversation between Jessica and I, but I would need to kind of download an app for that and experiment with that. But our schedules are kind of different. We're even in a different time zone. So I'm not sure if we'll be able to coordinate that, anytime soon, but we might do some episodes where it's both of us. We've done it before. Maybe you're thinking, wow, your solution was just doing the dishes. Well, I have one other idea for you. Okay, this is another part of my two-pronged approach. Cut back on how many dishes you have. Now, no, I don't mean getting rid of anything. What I mean is I am literally going to put some of my plates. We don't have that many bowls, and we need all of them, I think. But I'm going to put some of my plates in a different place, in a different cupboard where my kids don't know where they are. Okay? And obviously, I need those plates. The reason we have more plates than family members, obviously, is so that we can have guests over, to eat. But that doesn't happen that often, okay? Most of the time, it's just the 5 of us. And this system of pulling things out of circulation only works if the kids don't really know about it necessarily or know where the dishes are. So I'm planning to at least pull some plates out of circulation, maybe some cups. And, they shouldn't need those things. We shouldn't need that safety net of having all these extra items if we're keeping up. But if you don't have kids or you have small kids, meaning you're just fully in control of things, you could get rid of some items if you just literally have too many, because obviously putting some plates in a different cupboard isn't going to stop you from reaching for those as a way to procrastinate on doing dishes. Okay, but it is a way to force your kids to wash, especially if there's a rule about washing, and then let's say they forgot to wash their breakfast plates, and then at lunchtime there's not a clean plate. The reminder is going to be there, like, oh, I don't have anything clean because I broke the rule and didn't wash my breakfast plate. So I might take us down to like 5 plates and have the other ones in another cupboard. Then if my middle daughter comes over, at dinner time, no big deal. I pull out a plate, give it to her. Okay? And if my kids find out the hiding spot, I'll change it. So that's a final tip. You could donate some of your dishes and silverware to take it down, or just store them somewhere, for those large holiday meals or those, rare times that you have dinner guests, and you might entertain all the time, and, everybody's situation is different. But I'm saying for us, I could definitely stash some of our plates in another cupboard and just pull them out when we have guests. By the way, don't forget to visit cleanwithmepodcast.com. It's a place where you can find some of our more popular episodes and just some topical episodes on subjects you might be looking for. There's also a way to support the show on Patreon. We don't expect anyone to do it, but when someone does, we are very grateful. So special thanks to our financial supporters. Also, special thanks to those who have given us positive ratings and reviews. We love those 5-star ratings. We love those comments in the Facebook group. Just knowing who we're talking to helps us gear the show more toward our audience. So we like to hear about your household struggles, and just, your daily routine and how the show benefits you. We love hearing from you. So thank you for all of that. But if you go to cleanwithmepodcast.com, there's a way to click on support the show, and then you can join either my Patreon or Jessica's Patreon. And sometimes we put little insider stuff in those on the Patreon. site or whatever. But mostly it just helps us, and we appreciate that immensely. But don't get me wrong, just listening helps us. So most of all, just keep on listening. I appreciate each and every one of you. And as always, happy cleaning. We'll talk to you in the next episode.